Welcome to the Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, November the 6th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Heartbroken and distraught, the family of this island's latest accident victim, Bentley Belgrave, says life will never be the same without their loved one. 78-year-old Belgrave, who was traveling with his brother-in-law Irving Samuels, died following a collision at the junction of Pleasant Hall and the Charles Duncan O'Neill Highway in St. Peter at the weekend. Belgrave, a reverend who lives in the United States, has been here since September and was expected to return home later this month. Barbados Today visited the family this afternoon, and Samuels, who also received several injuries from the accident, said losing his beloved brother-in-law is far more painful.
As I turned the corner, heading towards Overseas Church, I was on my way to Black Rock, to my doctor, to get my checkup. From the time I turned the bend, I just glimpsed a very bright light. Just had a glimpse of it, followed quickly by a terrible impact, whereby I was shut off for a couple of seconds, but then quickly came back to myself and realized there was a white car to the left of my car, which would be most to the gutter side. And I looked to my left, I hugged my brother-in-law, and I called him about 4 times. I called for him, Brother B, you alright? My brother-in-law said nothing. He never said a word. My brother-in-law was killed instant.
Belgrave's sister, Sheila Samuels, could hardly hold back the tears for the brother she dearly loved.
My brother, there's so much, as I said before, to say about him. A very loving and caring brother. One that you could look to, not just looking for receiving things, but any problems, you can talk to him, he will talk to you. I say, like, my brother, father, friend. And every year we look forward to see him come up to share with us in our church revival. Every year he makes us that promise. He will come up, and so for all the years he was overseas, this is what he did. And not only that, my brother made sure he made me a promise. When my mom died, he said, Sheila, I'm going to make sure I call you every morning.
In other news, as Barbadians brace for higher insurance rates, taxi operators send a clear message that they are not happy with the move. Last week, President of the General Insurance Association of Barbados, Michael Holder, disclosed that all classes of insurance will rise to between 10 and 25%. Now, taxi operators tell Barbados Today business is down and a hike in insurance is simply bad news.
That's a huge jump, top man. Study the mass, that's a big jump, because at the end of the day, people can be driven both illegally and all brand of things, so that is not good. You got to look at ways where that the consumer and those that putting the things in place could benefit from it. At the end of the day, is that, as they say, you're driving people into slavery and you can cause people to do a lot of crime and a lot of things.
Business right now is to the bottom. Over the last, actually about 2 years, taxiing in Barbados, it's really, really down. And for insurance to go up at this time, it would even make taxiing, I believe they're going to put some people out of business.
I feel very bad about it, because when things like this here seems to happen in the economy, like things is not really going down and things is going up. And we at one level trying to survive on a level. And when things go up, we cannot get up and complete there, because we be suffering with the insurance rates going up. And then when you're not making a good income to really pay bills, and everything is going on. I don't feel it's very right.
The Barbados Labour Party is demanding that the state-owned Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, clears the air on the Democratic Labour Party's debt to the corporation. In a strong statement issued in response to media reports that the DLP is yet to settle an outstanding debt of $109,000, Barbados Labour Party General Secretary Dr. Jerome Walcott said it was shameful and clear evidence that crude partisan politics was destroying the state-owned media house. At a recent media conference, Walcott had blasted the CBC for rejecting advertising and other business from the BLP when it was broke. Walcott again called on the CBC management to act fairly in granting access to the radio and television stations. Barbados must move to integrate energy efficiency into local building codes, so says Technical Officer at the Barbados National Standards Institution, Jonathan Platt. Speaking at a national consultation to give feedback on the contents of the Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code held this morning, Platt says the country is too dependent on an unstable fossil fuel market to meet its energy needs. He stressed that Barbados must bring its energy bill under control as it seeks to build a sustainable future.
The thrust with regards to energy efficiency is here to stay. It's not going to go away. There is a need because the fluctuation of the cost of fuel is there, and we also want to be focused with regards to our impact with regards to fossil fuels and how we can save the planet, if you want to put it that way. But the main thing is that we want as much buy-in into this project as possible. The building codes and standards are something that we do naturally as Barbados National Standards Institution. But we're working in collaboration with all the member states, so the focus is larger than just Barbados. So therefore, as many persons that wish to review the document as possible, we welcome them. And they can always find me at BNSI. And if they wish to comment, they can do so.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit ticketpal.com and all TicketPal locations to get your tickets, and visit foodandrum.com for more information.
Welcome back with news from the region now. The Trinidad and Tobago Attorney General says the PNM government has managed to put a serious dent in crime, and he's warning criminals that government will continue to be relentless in its efforts to rid the country of the scourge. More in this report.
Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi said criminals have already begun to feel the heat just 2 years into the current People's National Movement administration. Speaking at the Diego Martin West Convention today, the AG said the numbers speak for themselves.
Haven't you noticed, ladies and gentlemen, an improvement in the detection and arrest rate of the police? Haven't you noticed that kidnappers alleged to be so are caught, put before the court? Heinous murders caught, put before the court? Rape attacks, the alleged perpetrators are caught and put before the court?
He adds that despite accusations spewing from the opposition that government hasn't had a definite plan to combat crime in Trinidad and Tobago, they will be leaving no stone unturned.
We did 3 things on that limb. Number 1, we put into effect something called the criminal procedure rules. That is to make sure that the cases are managed before they get to court, by statements, by time frames, by sanctions. Secondly, we made sure that we started to de-bottleneck the court.
Al-Rawi says the immunity criminals once thought they had is slowly withering away, and by the end of the PNM's tenure, there will be a shift in the behaviors in citizens that lead them to a life of crime.
On the international scene, in the United States to be exact, intense investigations are continuing into what has been described as the largest mass shooting in Texas history. Investigators revealed today that the gunman, Devin Patrick Kelly, killed his grandmother-in-law during the attack. 28 people were killed and 10 of 20 injured remain in critical condition. More details in this report from the CNN.
Here in the quiet countryside of Sutherland Springs, Texas, nearly 4% of the town's population was killed inside this small church on Sunday.
We laughed together, we cried together, and we worshiped together.
When a gunman opened fire during the service, more than 24 members of the church also died together. Many were children, the youngest just 17 months old.
It was literally what your horror movies are made of. They brought a little girl out, and I'm sorry. She was just covered in blood.
Fred Kernow lives directly across the street, less than 100 feet from the church. He says he saw the gunman begin his rampage outdoors, firing into the sides of the building.
You're in pews, you're in line. So going to the side, he's shooting straight through there. He knows he's doing some harm.
Kernow says the killer unloaded several rounds, then appeared to retrieve more ammunition from his car before heading inside.
It looked like he grabbed just like an armload of something. He popped another one in and started firing into the door.
26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelly came armed with 3 guns and donned a ballistic vest and a skeleton mask to carry out his attack.
There was a domestic situation going on within this family.
Kelly's mother-in-law attended the church, and while she was not here during the massacre, she had received a message from the gunman that morning, according to law enforcement.
We know that he had made threatening texts from him.
Kelly's SUV may hold even more evidence. He used it to flee the scene after being shot in the driver's seat by Good Samaritan Steve Williford, who ran to help barefoot.
The window on the driver's side came out. I mean, it shattered. And it's pretty blurry, but, you know, I was sure I saw some blood.
Police say Kelly made a final phone call soon after.
The suspect used his cell phone to notify his father that he had been shot and didn't think he was going to make it.
Right behind him at more than 90 miles per hour, Stephen Williford and Johnny Langenford gave chase for more than 10 minutes before the suspect crashed the car.
It was do everything necessary to make sure that this guy stopped.
Police say the gunman shot himself inside his SUV. We now know he was a water park security guard over the summer and served in the Air Force. In 2012, a military court charged him with assaulting his spouse and child and resulted in a 12-month confinement and a bad conduct discharge from the military.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.